Welcome to the Coffee on Zoom session titled Realign, Re-strategise and Transform Your Business into 2022, organized by Syarikat Ong in collaboration with UOB Malaysia. This Coffee on Zoom session is specially designed to prepare you and your business moving into the year 2022. Today, you will learn a fruitful knowledge on the insight of foreign exchange market outlook, how foreign exchange market outlook relate to your business in 2022, the new strategy to reframe the future and your business model moving into 2022, and how to strategize your current business model and be ready for the new normal of 2022 and beyond. Before we begin, let us have a look on the house rules. The access link to the Coffee on Zoom is unique to only one person, and it should not be forwarded or shared with anyone else. Close all apps, browsers, and emails to maximize your internet bandwidth. Participants' video will be switched off and microphones will be muted to minimize the audio disruption. No part of the e-material may be reproduced in any form, stored in a retrieval system, transmitted by any means electronically or mechanically, photocopied or recorded without the prior permission of the author or the company. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce to our two distinguished speakers of the session today. Ms. Tan Siew Jun from UOB Malaysia Global Market Solution Specialist. She is passionate and driven to understand market development and perform market analysis on the financial environment. She plays an advisory role by sharing relevant market updates to assist customers' business planning and understanding customer needs and offering the best product solutions to meet their requirement. Next, we have Ms. Agnes Wong. She is a chartered accountant registered with CTIM, MIA, and MISA with over 20 years of professional experience in compliance and advisory, fundraising exercises, boardroom matters, and shareholder structure. She is also often invited to share on corporate and tax-related topics in Malaysia, Singapore, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Germany. I will now pass the floor to the speakers. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Wani. Thank you very much. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon to all of you. Thank you for spending the time with us. And we'd like to actually start by having UOB Jun, Ms. Tan, to actually start her sharing for today.
Okay, first, let me share my slide. Yeah, 1 second. Okay, so okay, can you all see my slide?
Yes, I can. Hope everyone can see as well. Yeah.
Okay, so I will start my sharing for today. So first of all, just a simple introduction. So my name is Jun. My full name is Tan Siew Jun, but then you can call me Jun. Actually, I'm from UOB Global Markets, which known as Treasury Department as well. If let's say any one of you is our UOB customer, so maybe you will know my colleague, which is Chun Kit, Mr. Yap. So he's not here today, but then I will just represent for UOB to share about the FX market outlook. So before I start my sharing, so just do a disclaimer first. So the sharing for today actually is just for informational purpose, and then it doesn't conclude any deals or any advice. So just a sharing based on the current market, based on the current events. So it doesn't guarantee that in the future the rate might be will move on that trend or something. So it's just a sharing purpose only. Okay. So before I start, let me just go through with you all what is my agenda today. So today I will cover 4 topics. The first topic will be about the global market key outlook. So there are 2 countries that I will focus on. The first one will be our US, United States, and then the second one will be China market. And then after that, I will move into our Malaysia here. I will talk about what is the key factors that actually affecting for Ringgit Malaysia. And then the third one will be the spotlight for today, which is our UOB in-house forecast that actually from our senior economist, Julia Go. So I will share with you all what is the pairing, 4 pairings, and then what is the forecast until this year Q4. And then the fourth one is my advertisement time. So I will talk about the products that actually you offer by UOB Global Markets. Not only for FX, actually we do have some products, other products that actually can provide to you. So let us start our sharing today. So as what I mentioned just now, so for global market, I will focus on US market and also for China market. So for US market, I believe, let's say every one of you all have gone through the news, or maybe you listen to BFM or anything. So actually you will heard this word about tapering. So actually what is tapering about? So tapering in simple terms, which is a US market, they actually would like to reduce down their bond purchase. So I think back in 2020, so there is one pandemic, which is COVID-19, hit to the whole world here in our earth here. So actually other than US market, actually all of the central bank, they actually start to so-called printing money. The layman term is printing money to save the economy and everything. So US actually did that also. Our Malaysia here, we actually give out the print hati as well. So actually after like 2 years time, after they print out all the monies, so we can see actually in US market, the inflation rate is starting to getting higher. I think it's around 2% at the moment. So I think the US government, they are very concerned about their high inflation, and then they also like see the recovery of their US economic. So they're actually thinking to start to have their tapering, which is to reduce down the bond purchase. In the other way is to reduce the money supply in the market. And then after that, after they finish the tapering, they will start to hike the interest rate. So you can see on the graph here, this one actually is from our UOB Global Economics and Market Research. So we actually do expect the US, they will they actually started their tapering on last year. So they will end their tapering on March this year itself. And then on June itself, they will start to hike the interest rate for 3 times, and then another 2 times in 2023. So for currently, US market, their interest rate is standing at 1.75%. So we do expect they will hike 3 times for 0.25, bring it to 2.5% in year end, and then another 2 times hike around 0.5 to 3% in next year itself. So we do expect the US dollar will getting stronger, because every time when a country they hike their interest rate, 80% of the time, the currency of that market will actually increase. So we do expect the US dollar will getting stronger until year end. And then one thing to take note, actually US market, they are going to have their central bank meeting on 25th and 26th January. So we shall see what is their tone or what is their statement after their meeting. So if let's say they, after the meeting, they say that, okay, we are going to hike the interest rate in the coming meetings, then actually it is affirmed to the market that they going to start to hike the interest rate. So we do expect the US dollar will getting higher. So if any one of you are using US dollar to import or anything, so maybe you will need to take note on this, because we do expect a strong dollar in 2022. So maybe you will need to adjust for your costing. However, if let's say you are exporter, so I think you can just wait and see. And then if let's say the rate is high enough and then you would like to hedge, you can also like lock in the rate first. Okay, so after talking about the US market, we were talking about for China. So I think on 2021 for China itself is very eventful. So I think everyone of you also know about the Evergrande crisis. So for Evergrande crisis, it happened on last year itself. Just a brief background lah. So Evergrande actually is one of the biggest property company in US. So what happened is last year itself, their bond is maturity is matured, but then they unable to pay for their bond. So that's why it happened. Happened all this the Evergrande crisis, and then it causes a lot of investor, including foreign investor, they lose some confidence on China market, because such a big property company can go default because of the bond. So some of the investors, they actually pull out their money from China itself. So we actually see that the China market is not doing quite well after the Evergrande crisis, and we do expect the Evergrande the domino effects will still happen on this year, because it will affect the consumer, even the China citizen, they are confident on the property market. So I think due to the slumping property market in China, and also the other one is the zero case policy in China as well. Before that, I think when COVID just happened, so China actually they come out the zero case policy. So whenever there is any cases happen, so they will just lock down and then to filter and then to let everyone to do the test. So it's very useful when that time we don't have any vaccine because we still do know what is COVID. But then until now, actually we do have the vaccine, and then we can see most of the country they actually slightly is opening up the border to let people to travel, because anyhow you still need to let your economy to recover, right? But then for China side, actually they are still implementing the zero case policy right now. So I think just happened on 2 weeks ago or last week, I think Beijing, they have Omicron cases happen. So actually they lock down for Beijing, and then they do a very big scale of filtering. So actually it will affect for the China economy, because we don't know how long they will lock down for that area, and then all the supply chains will be affected as well. So if let's say you import goods or anything from China, I think if let's say you got any supplier from Beijing or maybe from Xi'an, so maybe you will be affected for this lah. And also we do heard a lot from our customer. They actually saying that China side is, it's not very unstable, but then due to this zero case policy, they don't know when their area will be closed out as well. So it's a risk for them, and it's a risk for us if let's say we are import the goods from them. So due to these two reasons, so we actually expect for renminbi itself, we do see it will continue to weaken until year end. So if let's say you don't know what how much it will weaken until, so you can wait until later. Actually I will share about our forecast for renminbi and also US, how much we do expect they will strong until and also weaken until. Okay, so after finish for US and also for China, so now we are moving to Malaysia here. So for Malaysia, just now actually for US I talk about the interest rate. So for Malaysia, Bank Negara, actually today we are having our OPR meeting. So OPR meeting is like an interest rate meeting, so they will decide whether they want to increase or either reduce the interest rate. So the interest rate will affect our loan, will affect our FD, will affect a lot of things in Malaysia here. So just now they just end the meeting on 3 o'clock. So Bank Negara actually they didn't hike any interest rate or didn't reduce interest rate for this round. So they still maintain a very neutral statement. So they see they need to observe what is the outcome for the Omicron for the COVID-19 as well. So they still remain a very neutral statement. So actually for UOB here, because we think that US, they were going to hike the interest rate 3 times in 2022 year. So we actually think that Bank Negara will follow, but then we won't follow so aggressively like, we won't follow US like so aggressively increase the interest rate. So we only expect Bank Negara to hike interest rate once on this year, which is Q3. I think should be around September itself. So currently our interest rate is standing at 1.75%. If I say they increase once on this year, so it will go up to around 2%. So if any one of you, you all want to borrow a fixed loan, I think this is the best time to borrow because our OPR is standing at 10 years low at the moment, 1.75. So it's best that for you all to borrow a fixed loan before they hike the interest rate. Okay, so other than the interest rate movement will affect our ringgit, the second one will be our crude oil prices. So I think all of you also know that our Malaysia here, actually we are one of the exporter. We are one of the crude oil exporter. So every time when the crude oil prices move, then it will affect our ringgit Malaysia as well. So as per yesterday, I think our crude oil moved to around $85 per barrel. So actually today, if let's say you got check for dollar ringgit rate, our ringgit actually strengthened for a little bit to around maybe around 4.15 to 4.18 level. So if let's say we see if let's say we see the OPEC, which is the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Country, they are going to tighten the supply for the oil, then it definitely will affect for our oil prices. So the oil price actually is a very good indicator for our ringgit Malaysia. So when you read newspaper or when you read news or when you heard for FM, you heard that actually the oil prices is getting higher. So most likely our ringgit will getting higher as well, because we are positive relatively to our crude oil due to we are one of the exporter for crude oil. Okay, so closely monitor for the crude oil prices for our ringgit Malaysia. And also according to our finance minister, every $1 movement in our crude oil actually it will cost around 300 million revenue in Malaysia here. So you can see how important is the crude oil prices to Malaysia here. So crude oil will play another important role in supporting our ringgit as well. Okay. So finish by sharing the US, China, and also for Malaysia market. So I will share about the spotlight for today, which is our UOB in-house forecast. This one is update on 16th of December itself. So it's quite latest. So you can see as what I shared just now, when I talk about US market, when I say they will hike the interest rate and then I put a arrow there, the US dollar ringgit will increase. So you can see here, the first quarter, we do expect the US dollar will go up to 4.25 and then 4.3 level on fourth quarter. So it's very expensive if I say you compare the current rate. So if I say you all have any imports or you are an importer, so maybe you can just adjust your cost accordingly. For Sing dollar, actually we do expect the Sing dollar will be quite stagnant to the outbreak, the COVID-19 outbreak. So it will stagnant at 3.07 to up to 3.08 level. And then for euro itself, we do expect it will continue to weaken from 4.76 to 4.73 level. 4.73 level. The reason is being because euro and US normally is whenever USD is getting higher, the euro is getting lower, because investor normally they will choose one of the currency to invest, either USD or euro. So if let's say you see the US dollar is getting higher, so most likely they will move their fund into euro side. So most likely you can see the US dollar and euro, the US dollar and the euro, their relationship is actually adverse. For renminbi, as what I shared just now, so due to Evergrande and also the zero case policy, we do expect the renminbi will continue to weaken from 0.664 until 0.656 level. Okay, so maybe you all can just take a picture for this one, but then this one is just for the sharing purpose. It's based on the current market situation. We come out the forecast. So if let's say the US dollar didn't go to 4.3 at the year end, you're just don't blame me and then say, I heard UOB June say that the US dollar will go to 4.3. But this one is based on the current market. So we wouldn't know tomorrow or maybe next month what will happen. So actually the forecast we will update every month one. So this one is last update on 16th of December. So we shall closely monitor what is the situation in US for their tapering, and also do they really hike the interest rate starting from June? If let's say yes, then most likely the US dollar will continue strengthen. So for China side, we still need to closely monitor for Evergrande crisis, what is the domino effect, and also how they going to contain the COVID-19 outbreak in their country itself. So if I say they cannot, then most likely the renminbi will continue to weaken because it will affect the confidence of the investor as well. And then for Malaysia here, we need to closely monitor whether our side, our Bank Negara, will follow US side to hike the interest rate. If yes, most likely our ringgit will strengthen a bit, but then won't as strong as US dollar. And also the oil prices. So if I say the oil prices, they continue to cut the production for the oil, and then the oil price continue to strengthen, then most likely our ringgit will strengthen a bit. Okay. So after the forecast, after the market outlook, so I would like to share about for our UOB global market product. So other than, I think all of you, most of you know us Treasury as foreign currency department. So actually other foreign currency, we actually do have a few more products. So let me explain to you all. Let me brief you all through. So the first one, the foreign currency, which already, I think most of you know that if let's say you are importer or exporter, if let's say you're personal, you have some request, some requirement on foreign currency, you are free to do with UOB here. And then I would like to introduce to you all for this FX forward line. So this one is only for company. So just now when I share that US dollar is getting higher, maybe from 4.2 to 4.3 level. If let's say you are importer, you know that dollar is going to getting higher. So are you going to just wait for US dollar to going up, or are you looking for some solution from UOB here to help you on this? So actually we do have the solution. We can actually provide you for this FX forward line. So forward line is is a facility from UOB here. You need to apply. So after apply, how does this forward line works is you actually can lock in the rate based on the tenor or based on the notional amount you are granted by UOB, and then you can just lock in the rate first without paying out the money. So if let's say just now, like what I say, if let's say US dollar today is around 4.2 level, by knowing that US dollar will continue shoot up to 4.3 at year end, and then you know that every month you have requirement you need to pay to your supplier. If let's say everyone is 100,000. So maybe you will ask, can I just lock in the rate right now because I don't want later the rate getting higher and then I will lose out in foreign currency. So the answer is yes, you can lock in, but then you need to have the FX forward line with any bank is a facility. So with any bank, and then you can just lock in the rate. So if let's say today the rate is 4.2, if let's say you have a tenor, if let's say we grant you the tenor is like 6 months, so you can just lock in the rate at 4.2 and then for 6 month time. So you can just pick up the contract any point of the time within this 6 month times. Okay, so if let's say you all got any question, maybe later you all can just type inside the chat, or maybe later we will have a Q&A session. You all can we can have a session later. So you just take note for this FX forward line. It's very good for company to mitigate the risk, because by knowing that the rate is going to strengthen or going to appreciate, so it's going to appreciate or going to depreciate, it will affect your profit margin or anything. If let's say you want to lock the rate, yes, you can, so long you have the FX forward line with the company. Okay, so other than foreign currency, we do actually have bonds, gold, interest rate, and equity-linked structured investment product. And all these product is not limit to personal only. So if let's say your company, you have extra money, you would like to do some investment, because right now the FD fixed deposit is quite low, is at most also 2%. If let's say you are looking for some alternative investment product, yes, we do have. So other than the FX forward line, we do have dual currency investment. This one is not only limit to personal, to company, we also can do dual currency investment. And also we do have principal guarantee FSL investment product. So I know because it's company fund, so maybe some of you are looking for some more low risk kind of investment product. So you all can consider all these principal guarantee product. And also for bonds, we do offer for Malaysia government bond, and also our Islamic Malaysia government bond, which is called GII, government investment issue. And we do offer corporate bond as well. If let's say you are very confident in some of the industry that you would like to invest, yes, you can ask us whether do we have that company bond, and then we can just offer to you. Okay, and also if let's say you are very into gold, actually we do offer for paper gold saving account, because some of the customer, maybe you all don't want to keep the gold inside your house or anything. So we do have paper gold saving account. It's just like a normal current account. You just need to open the account, and then you just buy low and sell high for paper gold. It's very straightforward. And then next, we will have our interest rate. It's a callable range accrual. The callable range accrual actually depends on the interest rate. Like what I said just now, when we think that the US dollar, they are going to high interest rate. So actually we do have this product. If let's say the interest rate is within the range, then you were able to get for the coupon or either so-called return. So this one is for interest rate product. So if let's say you have a view on the interest rate, then you might be interested in investing in this interest rate product. And then last but not least, we will have our equity linked structured investment product. So among all these products, the equity linked structured investment product normally will have the highest yield, because high risk, high return, because it's equity linked. So all this product actually is high risk, but then the return is comparatively high as well. So it depends on your risk profile. If let's say you are quite conservative, then normally we will advise you will go for bonds or either gold or either principal guarantee. If let's say you do mind to take some risk, maybe you can go for equity linked short-term investment product. Okay, so if let's say you all got any question, you all can just put into the chat, and then later we'll have a Q&A session. Okay, so that's all for my sharing today. Thank you.
Thank you, June. Thank you very much for your sharing. For all our audience today, yeah, if you could actually change your, if you're using a computer, you change to speaker view, you'll be seeing both myself and June in the audience. So yeah, so okay, so just wondering whether does anyone has any questions before I do my sharing. So I was thinking maybe we can take 2 questions while the topic is hot. Otherwise, keep your questions and then we can do it at the end as well. Yeah, just wondering, anyone, those 2 questions? Anyone have any things to actually ask UOB June regarding the products? To us, I think in Syarikat Ong, we're beginning to actually see that for businesses, not only we need to actually know our check and balance, our profit and our profit and loss, as well as our balance sheets, we actually need to know how to actually maximize every single dollar strength, yeah, in our business, yeah, whether it is actually because you're into import exports, or just because this is actually it's a money market for you to actually strengthen the money that you actually have in your bank, right? All right. Okay, June, maybe I will continue with my sharing first, and then we'll see whether there is any further questions coming along from the audience, yeah? All right.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for staying in. Okay, allows me to actually do my sharing part for the next, I will say about 45 minutes, maybe around there, or 1 hour, close to an hour. Okay, so now, this is the beginning. We are in the month of January, yeah. So I thought our first coffee sessions, yeah, to all of you who are actually from, which actually our client, you know that in Syarikat Ong, we always have this coffee on Zoom. It's more like a coffee sessions, yeah, 1.5 hour vitamin-based of coffee sessions, whereby we wanted to get different panel speakers to share good information for businesses or executives in order to bring them like for them to align them to make them better in running their business. So as a start for this year 2022, we decided to actually have this topic called how to realign, re-strategize and transform our business into the year 2022. How do we actually get ourselves prepared into this new year? Yeah, so I split it up into 3 sections, why a business actually started, yeah, and why a business failed, basically. Planning, and then we talked about how do we actually plan it forward. Ladies and gentlemen, actually the past 20 over months of lockdown, yeah, plus lockdown and non-lockdown, yeah, there is just so many things happen. A little bit statistics from within what we actually have at Syarikat Ong is we actually assist more than 50 under 100 companies actually officially closes its businesses. Can you imagine? So you're looking at over a period of 12 months, right? So you are actually having a couple of companies or more than a couple of companies that was actually officially closed. And we are talking about only under our umbrella. Imagine the entire Malaysia, right? So, but of course, at the same time, right, we are also seeing a lot of business actually started at the same time. So it is both ways lah. Okay. All right, allow me to actually go on. Now, why a business started? I wanted to just touch this very quickly. Everybody starts their business for many, many reasons. Right? Maybe it's a hobby that they like it, right? Or they are very passionate about it, or they have some visions over certain needs and certain market. Sometimes it's simply because they actually like that particular freedom and they feel that starting a business gives them the flexibility other than a job, okay? And the sense of satisfaction of being a boss probably is what actually drives them forward to actually start a business. But a lot of time from where we are seeing a lot of SMEs started because the founder themselves is a super salesperson. So at the end, they decided to start a business because they think that if I'm going to bring so much sales to the company, I might as well start it up myself. So we're actually having a lot of people having that kind of thought, and that actually brings them why they're starting their business. And of course, there will be a lot of other reasons why you start your business as well. Now, ladies and gentlemen, actually starting a business today is one thing, but sustaining a business is totally a different thing nowadays. I think as some of us move on and on, we actually beginning to feel that, right? Syarikat Ong is 48 years old this year. Syarikat Ong, the company, the firms, the company. So in 2 years' time, it will be 50 years old. So this is how old the practice is. And I can tell you, in the past, we probably can say, oh, we are an established company, so hence we will be able to weather all kinds of challenges. But actually, I think all of you businesses, you will know that it's no longer the case. All right. So you can get replaced very easily. COVID itself has done so much to businesses of today. Yeah, we are in Syarikat Ong, we are one of those who have that opportunity to witness some of this. Now, basically, the competencies as an entrepreneur is so wide, but if I given a chance, I like to only split them into 3 areas only. 3 levels of competency. Personal competency talked about yourself. Second is interpersonal skill type of competency, and third, of course, the business competency. As far as your business is concerned, right? Your vision forward. Are you able to actually gather the resources and your network and the entire business model? Is it actually carry that negotiation skill, right? So basically, it takes so much out to make a business successful. To just make a living, I think it's not too much of a problem. But to create a successful business, nowadays, it really takes a lot more effort. Now, why a business fail? A lot of people say, because of COVID law. So that's why it failed. But is it really because of COVID? Are you killed by COVID or are you killed by something else? I think that is something that we really need to actually look into. Basically, if you look at this statistic that we actually put up, you will realize that a lot of the time, businesses fail for various reasons, and this is the top 10. We call it a startup fails. A lot of time, you will find researchers on startups. You find researchers on startups. You don't actually you seldom actually see people do research to say the top reason why a public listed company fail. Okay, you seldom see that, right? But you normally will see why an SME fail. And if you looked into the left corner, you will realize that of many reasons. Okay, one of it is maybe the market no longer needs you. It is a very realistic outcome, but really, we see it as well as a company secretary. And sometimes we're just running out of cash. At where we are at Syarikat Ong, many of our clients are actually they actually fundraise to actually support their business. But we realize that many of the time, the cash runs out. Why the cash runs out before the profit comes in? Entrepreneurs, sometimes we need to really, really challenge ourselves with those questions, okay? 23% fail simply because they are not getting the right team. They are not actually put them at the right job, right? People is one very important factor. Or sometimes you are just totally being outcompeted, or you are not able to compete. And failure due to pricing issue, it's a very common issue. Item number 5 here is a very common issue, to be very honest. Later on, when it comes to planning your business forward, we wanted to touch on a little bit on this one. What are the common issues that we see in businesses, which we hope in the year 2022, everybody, let's do things differently. Let's give ourselves a head start. Let's make 2022 a good year for you, as well as everyone around you. Okay? And many other reasons, as you can see in this particular chart. Now, how big is the fail rate? How big is the fail rate? Let's look into the fail rate of these 3 categories only. What is the percentage of failure for a company that starts in its first 2 years, and in its first 5 years, and can it actually last more than 10 years? Basing on the statistic that we can find from Business Time Malaysia, we realize that 30% of the businesses actually fail within 24 months of its incorporations. Now, to many extents, this is even higher numbers if you ask my personal opinion during the COVID, right? Those who start their business in 2019, for example, if their business are not able to make relevant during the COVID period, which actually struck with the lockdown, etc., in the year 2020, basically, sometimes they didn't actually survive as of today. We may have already tapao, and then the company is already on its road of closing, all right? And actually 50% is like tossing a coin, isn't it? Ladies and gentlemen, it's like tossing your coin, right? 50% actually fail within its first 5 years, right? And this is such a realistic information. 66% cannot actually survive to pass the UPSR if the kids is if this is a little kids, right? The company was actually couldn't actually go for the primary 6 exam because the company is already gone under or lose its competition. Ladies and gentlemen, our failing rate is actually very high. So what happened? Actually, what happened? It's something that we really have to ask ourselves. Why SMEs? We are like flowers, you know. We blossom and we die down. We blossom and we die down. We couldn't sustain. So this is something we really need to look into. What makes a business able to sustain more than that? Now, this is another important stats, yeah, that talks about the challenges that business generally meets. Now, this slide is a little bit different. This research slide is a bit different from the two that I actually showed to you, which is about a smaller based company. This one actually talks about large as well as listed company, and as well as compare against the SMEs, right? The one in blue, we refer to the challenges that larger organization or listed organization was actually facing during the COVID period. And then the gray lines was actually referring to SMEs, the non-listed the non-listed group, the smaller companies. As you can see, if you look into it without looking at the numbers, you will realize that actually, no matter what size you are, you face exactly the same problem. Agree? Right? You face exactly the same problem. Now, the magnitude of your impact, if you pay attention to the percentages that was actually shown, comparing item by item, you'll realize it aren't moving too far as well. You don't see many that was actually having even like 10% in difference, you know. Probably if we are to look into the technology part, the one, you know, we talk about work from home. Okay, the impact of working from home from larger organization, they will be a lot more adaptive, you know, because they are more able to invest into equipment, while the smaller organization may not be able to. So you probably will see a little bit of difference there. But other than that, you'll realize everyone went through their turmoil. Okay, so now guys, in the year 2022, the Omicron, whatever it is, whatever the government policy is going to be, like China doing this zero case policy, it's a very, I would say, a very extreme, yeah. It is not something that Malaysia can afford, right? Because China, after all, they can survive by way of just having their domestic consumption. They somehow can survive. They probably will not become a billionaire by just you know, waiting for their own domestic market to actually grow themselves organically. They will still need the rest of the world to actually help. But generally, they can survive much better under the lockdown as compared to Malaysia. Because one of the things about Malaysia is being such a small country, our spending power comparatively, our domestic consumption comparatively is still less than many countries around us, even our neighboring country, I would say. Why? Because our per dollar that we are actually earning, it's actually not a lot. We do actually have a lot of small, medium enterprises. And during the COVID, you see the government coming out, not just helping SMEs, helping micro SMEs, you know. So Malaysian businessmen, you know, we have a lot of very, very small micro people around. So as a result, right, the business world today is honestly very, very different. Okay, now let's go dive in a little bit about what are the common challenges when a businessman or an entrepreneur actually face when they run the business itself, when they're really running. I'm actually having a company, now I'm running it. What are the common issue that we have? Now, this is an information that we actually get from the Business Partner magazine, whereby there is this research that was actually done to actually say that the incompetency, just now when we begin, we talk about competency, you know, being a business person, when you're a board of directors, you're running your your firm, your practice, or your company needing now, right? The market need you to be very competent. So 46% of the common challenges of business of entrepreneur when they run a business is they are actually lack of competency. Yeah, lack of knowledge, lack of information, and lack of planning. Very often, we SMEs use a lot of gut feeling because my experience is a lot more important than your analysis, right? So we got to actually start dropping that kind of thoughts because numbers really works, right? This is a little bit like a blood test report. I feel good, but when I go to a path lab, did a blood test, probably high cholesterol, etc., hypertension, etc., right? So do you believe the path lab report, or you just say, oh, I actually feel good, so I can have a couple of drinks further, right? So ladies and gentlemen, as an entrepreneur, if we are to really be successful and sustainable of today, the market demand a lot more than how we do business in the past. So 46% of the problem in running the company, the challenges in running the company is we, the bosses, are not competent enough. We are just not knowledgeable enough in many ways. And lack of managerial experience, right? I see many companies whereby to manage a team of 10 or 15, less than 20, it's not difficult, okay? Because the number is small. So the moment that company need to actually grow beyond that, right? To actually move towards it. The moment that they have to increase their how you call it, their human capital size or their capacity, sometimes if things are not prepared well, it falls, right? When you it is just like cancer sales, right? It's just like cancer sales. It is only a bad cancer sales is going to grow very fast, right? A good sale will grow organically. So, of course, I'm not saying that businesses, you're supposed to slow down in your growth. No, exponential growth is still something that you should work for, but you need to ensure that you are equipped with a new competency as you move on. So 30% actually fail due to the managerial experience is actually not enough. And 11% fail simply because the experience of the industry is actually lacking and advertising budgets are actually put to waste. I have already have a lot of advertisement fee paid on Facebook, but I don't see a return on whatever that I actually advertise, for instance, right? So some of the common challenges, and if you look into the mistakes that this is also coming from the same magazine, right? The business partner magazine.com, whereby we talked about what are the mistakes that managers or business owners actually make. These are the 10 common mistakes as well, right? Going into the business for the wrong reason. That's why the first slide we talked about, why are you in business? Why are you in business to begin with? So going into business for the wrong reason, or sometimes instead of finding the right way to get it, you ask just anyone for advice, right? And more, other methods, as you can see here. Now, I'm beginning to see a lot of the time, entrepreneurs are not really focused. They're not very focused as compared to maybe 5-10 years ago, the businessmen then. Not very focused. Businessmen normally have a lot of deal, like I'm into this, I'm into so many things. So the area of focus is actually very important. If not, you ensure that you have a team to manage your different range of, should I say, businesses that you actually venture in. Okay. Now, out of so many challenges that we talked about, what are the 5 easy fix? Yeah, for you to at least move on, right? Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's just like we talked about when I wanted to do changes, right? Okay, the moment that you start listing down, your leaders can give you 105 things that they want to see changes on. But you always have to prioritize, right? You always say, okay, let's talk about the first 5 kind of thing, right? So it's the same thing. So what are the first 5 easy fix that any businesses can look into? Basically, improve your planning. That is also why we wanted to have a little coffee on Zoom sessions with businessmen this afternoon. Basically, a quick 1.5 hours is, hey guys, If you have not started planning for your year 2022, probably it's time to gather your team to do some, right? And then to really nail it down for you to actually move forward, right? Ineffective marketing, hiring the wrong people, and number 5 is important. Believe you can do everything yourself. So this is one thing that we really, really have to think. No matter how multitask you can, probably you need help. Okay, guys, believe that you need help. You probably will need some help somewhere. So today we wanted to spend more time to talk about planning your business forward. Okay, now when we talk about planning your business forward, I wanted to use 3 words to go about it. Okay, one, we talk about realign. Actually, what is a business of tomorrow? What is a business structure of tomorrow? Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes we are so bogged down with our daily work, right? We forgot to look into and be relevant. It's just like today, we actually invited UOB to actually have a session. So June was talking about Forex, Some of you may say that, hey, I am, I'm only a kedai runcit, what does the Forex have anything to do with you? Yes, it will still have something to do with you. Why? Because you are part of the entire economical cycle, right? So your products is coming from somewhere. And even though it can be Malaysian made, the raw material may come from somewhere, right? Whereby it may be imported. So foreign currency, it's impacted. One of the very common comment that was actually given to me, I won't say post-COVID, but I will say post-lockdown. Post-lockdown is people say, gosh, we have to relook into our costing. Why? Because raw material cost increases. Raw material cost increase. So what does that raw material cost increase means? Right? When I actually facilitate a property talk a couple of months back in our budget talk, then one of our panel speakers, Chang Ai-Ching, who is actually from MIE, the national president of Malaysian Institute of Estate Agents, she was saying property price is not going to get cheaper because raw material cost goes up, right? The material cost goes up. And at the same time, I have a client who called and said, Agnes, I got to see you. Why? Because I'm in the raw material and my business goes up, So now, guys, what is actually what the market needs? So sometimes we need to actually just on the lookout. You never know. Things are actually relevant to you. So guys, what is a business of tomorrow? Okay, first of all, we probably have to find out what the market hope to see in today's business. If today you are looking for people who invest in you, you are looking for people who bank on you, or even you have a business proposal that you are trying to actually seek financing from the bank. All right, what do they wanted to see in writing? What they want you to take note of. This is important things to take note. Another one is re-strategizing, planning, drafting your yearly plan, as well as relook into your human plan, as well as your entire org chart, and not forgetting, everybody talk about transformation. What does transformation really, really means? And going digital, everybody say, you must go digital. What does it mean by going digital? Is it easy to go digital? Right? It's actually not easy. And can you afford not to? Right? This is an area we want to go into. Now, ladies and gentlemen, today is the first time that I hear UOB talks about Forex. Last week, I was actually having the opportunity to share the same stage with another foreign bank, whereby I actually spoke about another topic while he spoke about another topic. So he was actually highlighting on the lending criteria. He talks about the lending criteria. So when he talks about the lending criteria, to my surprise, he went by going through the research paper that the head office of that particular foreign bank went into as well. So he says that in addition to actually check whether there is enough money to lend to you, they also wanted to see what are the product that you are pledging to them. If you talk about property, so that particular bank actually says that Bank Negara, for example, property, Bank Negara slowly asking people to look into, if I may have just go into this particular slide, we talk about the sustainable value. To look into whether the property comes with any of sustainable value in the picture. Like for example, is it a green building? Does it do certain energy saving? Does the property come with certain function? And surprisingly, what the banker was actually sharing was, you know, the lending of the future will actually carry not only whether you as a borrower is able to lend to you, is the product that you are putting onto me to be lended, whether it carries certain characteristic of that, and that creates value to your entire lending process. Because you know, everybody wanted to actually have an asset that was actually sustainable in its value, right? So to me, that is a very interesting information to receive, right? And of course, maybe Jun could actually put some words on that particular one, whereby he says that in the future, when it comes to the lending, banks to banks, property loan, for example, there may be some form of standardizations that's going to be made, meaning the OPR rate will be this, and then last time, you know, the banks can do certain discounting factor, the plus and the minus, but now things is going to be pretty much quite clear, whereby it is going to be very transparent in terms of the rates. Your plusing factor from bank to bank, that is the only the only factor that you wanted to see what will be the cost of your lending. He says things are going to get more and more transparent. It makes me think about the time when the telco was going through their their transformation period, whereby they're trying to make the numbers, right, 016 no longer belonging to DG, 016 can also belong to Maxis, you know, when the number coding was actually being so-called cross-shared, right? So that kind of business environment, it's not only happening to telco, it probably will start moving into the banking to benefit the market by and large, yeah, ladies and gentlemen. So we in business, where does our market move? What is our market demand look like? What is our market hope to see in us, in our industry, is something that we need to actually use a little bit of a crystal ball to look into. Okay, now, sorry, I jumped 2 slides just now, so I'm just going to go back in again. So now, nowadays we talk a lot about as a corporate company, what is your responsibility as a corporate citizen? Yeah, as an individual, we talk about what are you supposed to do as an individual citizen, right? So you have to pay tax, you have to do this, you have to do that. You know, when you see red light, please stop. You know, don't go and ram the red light, etc., etc. So in business, we talked about a company, you need to carry certain responsibility, and this kind of things are getting more and more apparent. The market expect you to carry it. Yeah, so being a corporate citizen, it is recognized. It's a recognition that a business corporation or business-like organization has social, cultural, and environmental responsibility. So these three keywords is keep coming in, ladies and gentlemen. It's actually getting more and more apparent. I'm beginning to see that even when we interview younger generation. Right now, interview in the past is I choose you, interviewer choose you. Hey, not really. The interview of today is an interviewer choose interviewee, interviewee also choose interviewer, right? So interviewee also may actually have their own value proposition. So this 17 initiative is something that has actually spoken about a lot. I will not go into this particular particular chart because there is a lot of information here, but I wanted to introduce this thing called sustainable value in business that come with this new terminology called ESG criteria. Now, business of tomorrow, today, there is a need. Actually, there is a need. It becomes a need that this is no longer a strategy, that when you are creating a culture in your business, in your company policies, in how you actually drive your day-to-day, now need to pay attention to environmental issue, your social issue, as well as your governance issue. Now, what does that actually mean? The environmental issue refers to how you as a company perform as a steward of nature. Are you green enough about it? What is your digital transformation about, for instance? Or people talk about digital transformation, so you talk about it as well, right? What is the underlying reason? Because you wanted to go green, you want to be more efficient. What do you want to do? Now, there are so many people look at what we are doing as a bosses today. Your employee is one of the very big audience, ladies and gentlemen, on how you run your business, your employee, number one. Number 2, of course, your competitor. Number 3, if you are a company that is actually leading in your industry, the rest of the other smaller size, will like to actually see who to benchmark towards to, Number 2 is social criteria. This actually examine how you manage the relationship, with employees, suppliers, etc. So businesses of today, right, we talk about ESG. How do you do every single ESG? What is the initiative of your business today in running your operation using ESG? Yeah, so if you have never heard of these 3, it's time for you to look into, because it actually helps you as a businesses to bring you to become a business of tomorrow, right? Otherwise, you get phased out and you don't know why you die, why you become not attractive. I believe it will definitely come at times whereby your supplier will ask you certain questions. Our company policy have this, in order for me to deal with you, you got to blah, 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 blah. For example, you're not just tendering of your pricing. Okay, and the governance criteria, of course, right? And governance will include what are your SOP set in your companies, how you actually make your remuneration, your audit methods, your tax method, your legal and regulation framework, your internal control, and your shareholder. How do you take care of your shareholders, etc., etc. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know whether you are aware or not, but businesses of today, a lot of the time is we no longer talk about I need to earn my first bucket of my money in order for me to expand my business. A lot of the time is I have an idea, you have the money, me and you come together, we get the business up. Right? Businesses of today is a lot of this kind of mode. Young entrepreneurs generally come with that. They come with an idea, they're looking for people with the money. Now, if you wanted to source for money, you go to the bank, that will be one. Another way is you may look for investors. Now, investors of today, who they invest into, they look into the company that will come with sustainable value. Sustainable value, it is a terms that we talked about, the initiative, the 17 initiative that we show here, which every single company may dissect certain part only, not all. You don't have to do everything because not everything belonging to you, but you belong to part of the sustainable goal. So that is why nowadays the sizing down is, guys, you look into these 3 criteria. These 3 criteria somehow will cater for it already. Every company will actually have a different thing. Now, this little note that I put on here is important. Right, the broking company as well as the mutual fund company have actually starting to actually offer these funds which is actually relating on financial product that actually follow the ESG criteria, right? So you never know. Right? One day you may actually buying a fund, not just because dividend yield fund or whatever fund, or how do you call the Islamic fund or etc. You probably is going to have one that talk about ESG compliance fund, right? So ladies and gentlemen, we need to actually know what the market is actually need a company to carry as its characteristic nowadays. Okay, so if you have not thought about it, start to look into your setup. Okay, which part for you to actually do a little bit of realignment and make it into an initiative for you to actually move yourself and stay relevant in the business of today, right? When you interview, when you do your company brochure and profile, this becomes the important characteristic for you to actually input inside. Okay, now restructuring your company planning is important. Just now we mentioned about the managing skill fail a lot of time is because we don't plan enough, or we plan but we don't execute till the end, or we plan but it's not detailed enough so it's not executable, or we plan but we are too busy so it's been shelved so we did not actually execute at all, right? So at the end of the day, we talked about whether you are executing it or not. So now, ladies and gentlemen, of anything about planning, financially, we talk about setting your goals for the year, having your budget and managing your cash flow. Now, because of the time today is actually quite short, so I just wanted to talk about cash only. Okay, just wanted to talk about managing your cash runway. So according to a research done by the US Bank, all right, and also cited by SCORE, the reason small businesses fail overwhelmingly a lot of time because of cash flow. In Malaysia, it is totally the same, right? The government is getting so much handout. The COVID hit, the lockdown comes. The first thing that I'm thankful that the bank has actually done is actually giving the bank monitoring period, right? So a lot of people suddenly do not need to actually pay that. Why? Because cash flow management is so important. Cash runway. How much is your cash runway to actually keep you alive? You know, it is just like an oxygen. So now, ladies and gentlemen, monitoring period is actually over. How are you going to manage your cash flow now, right? We have to go back to the environment of managing cash. So if you ask me to sustain strongly, fundamentally, cash is actually very important, not just profit. Profit that is not yet collected, it's actually not your still, okay? So cash is actually important. Profit as well, cash is important. Okay, so poor cash flow management and poor understanding of cash flow, starting out with too little money when you start, wrong planning, due to bad developments will actually put the company off the shelf very quickly. So ladies and gentlemen, while you are talking about, okay, sales team, I need to see you hitting these sales that brings me this profit. Okay, don't forget to also talk about, is the money collectible? Okay, if I need you to bring back 5% profit for this new range of net profit, for this new range of product, but it's going to take me 3% of discount for me to collect the money upfront, then you probably have to think again, is the 2% worth the effort, or what am I supposed to strategize in terms of my business model when I actually move into managing my profitability for the year, at the same time was actually having cash. You know, one of my colleague in the industry was actually having this chat with me when everyone was actually paying our so-called like a balance of tax in the month of, was it September or October. So this audit partner say this. He says, you know, at the last minute, I actually decided to write a check to the Inland Revenue for my balance of tax paid. Yeah, because my online banking is not able, my personal online banking is not able to actually pass through so much money. So I went to the Inland Revenue, the conventional way to actually issue my final check. And the officer was telling me, you know, wow, banyak duit boss. Wow, it's so good to be boss. Then my friend who is actually in the same industry looked at him and said, hey, boss, even though I can write this check to you, but I actually feel richer when I am working for my own bosses before I come out. Why? Because I'm paying you in the revenue based on the profitability that I'm actually having. Wow. When I'm actually working with somebody, I'm actually managing cash only. You know, I got more cash. I got more disposable and usable cash as compared to today. This money you see is coming from overdraft, you know. So yeah, it is. I mean, it's such an irony, but it's so true, ladies and gentlemen, isn't it? So don't forget managing the cash. Now, okay, we talk so much about planning, but how do you plan, right? June actually mentioned something very important. Okay, the US dollars is going to be hiked up, okay, and the renminbi is more likely to be weakened, right, because of their policy, etc., etc. So ringgit in between, yeah, the the 1 hour ago meeting that they had, there is no hike for the time being, but not sure about the next meeting, but looks like everything is still stable, right? So ladies and gentlemen, when you make your plan ahead for the year, you still need to somehow do certain form of crystal ball plus research, of course, right? You need to actually set a benchmark for your team as well as yourself, of course, on what is the scenario your company wanted to adapt. So if your company decided to adapt an optimistic scenario for the year 2022, okay, you wanted to, and then you believe that this optimistic is actually relevant to your business and your industry, of course, you draw a growth percentage target, you know, how do you call it? An aggressive target. But if your industry, all right, needs time to recover, okay, maybe pessimistic, maybe in between pessimistic and practical, Okay, so then you actually have to draw a very different one. It's unfair for you to also draw and say, hey, I don't care. We have done 10% before, so all my team and managers, I want to see a 10% increase. It will not be fair. Okay, you will see by the time that you walk until the end of the year, you are there, your lorry are there, but your people are not there. So at the end of the day, and your business is not there because somebody else probably actually undercut and take it away. So setting your scenario when you start planning is extremely important. Okay, when you actually set your things further. Now, this gentleman is a very important person to me, I would say. Dr. Sri Idris Jala Pemandu Associate, President and CEO of Pemandu Associate. Pemandu and Syarikat Ong, we actually embark on two assignments together during the COVID time, whereby we help companies who actually engage us to look into the cash runway to see how to tighten it up with proper tools. Yeah, so I wanted to share with you one of these very simple implementation tools that Dr. Sri Idris Jala, right, has actually used a lot of the time, okay, and it's very practical. He says that, okay, after you set your plan, as a bosses, we set our plan, right? We always have our dream. Our dream is our plan. Huh? So we set our plan, or we set our target, and then we get all the initiative out, but you will still need to have check and balance. Okay, so you still need to actually look into your businesses in these very important 6 angles. What are the angles? Cash. You need to have people who take care of cash. You need to people who take care of customers. You need to have people who take care of people as in teams and employees. And then you need to have people who who look into communications. It can be communication with the client. It can communicate with the market. What will be your digital marketing material looks like? And communication back into your team and all kinds of communication. You need people to look into this sector of your business, and at the same time, of course, driving a revenue is extremely important, and of course, not forgetting the cost. Are you spending your money and your effort at the right place? Okay, so now what is this 6 action team about? This 6 action team is actually about having your people carrying different hats and looking into from a different angle. So if I recall back this chart one more time, so we talk about those people, if we talk about cash today, we talk about how do we actually cut our costs further. All right, and we talk about cash, we talk about how do we preserve our cash further. Okay, cutting costs and preserve cash is 2 different topics, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, now you need to have your sales team talk about how am I going to increase your revenue. Now, the interesting part is when you are actually sector your people standing at different corner of the pie chart and speaking at that subject matter, on behalf, it actually create an avenue of clearing all the blind spots in your business as well, managing your business risks. Your sales team will probably come and say, boss, in order for us to double our sales this year, we need to actually have this marketing fund, etc., etc. So this information passed to cost team will actually say, hey, hello, I am looking at areas to cut costs, right? I'm looking at areas to cut costs. So it creates that check and balance, right? Ladies and gentlemen, in businesses, right, your planning needs to actually come from your team. If not, your planning will fail, right? The only way for your team to actually buy in onto whatever that you plan, whatever that you envisage to actually achieve comes from they subscribe to the plan itself. Otherwise, it doesn't work, okay? So, etc. Yeah. So the other questions are, for example, how to manage customers during the crisis, or not just crisis per se, just managing the customer in general. Okay, and how to manage staff during, whether it's during the crisis or during a certain initiative, etc., etc. Now, Dr. Sri Idris Jala likes to talk about the SARA curve. He says, in any implementation that you wanted to do, whether it is an uptrend, downtrend, you definitely will people who have their hand tight and then just busuk muka, you know, it's not happy about it, and then just being the opposition party. So in any plan or any initiative or any goal that a company wanted to achieve, you sure having people who are reluctant to move on, or any changes, you sure to have people who are reluctant to move on. So when you drive any planning for a year, number one, it needs to be really driving by holding the bull by its horn. Number two, it must come with a deadline, because if not, people get tired. People get tired. And the human emotion will go through this Sarah curve. This Sarah curve talked about when a boss is starting to say, okay, now we are post-COVID, we are post-lockdown. We wanted to see 10% growth. Then everybody gets shocked. For example, boss, we just recovering, right? So shock. And then if the whatever that the bosses wanted to implement doesn't fall through, people will start to get mad about it, or reject the idea, right? So making it happen is very important, right? We say we wanted to achieve that. How to make it happen? How to make it happen, right? So how to make it happen is a question that we need to keep challenging ourselves and come up with little project for us to actually spearhead, so that the moment that your people see success, then they will accept, they see hope, then together a company can move on. Otherwise, no way. All right. So next, very quickly, I wanted to touch about planning your business forward when it comes to re-strategizing your own human capital. Now, one of the very, very common speeches that I believe everybody would have been touched on somehow or rather, either you listen to a talk before or you listen somebody talk about it before, is motivating your team using employee share option. Now, did you realize I put a question mark to it, right? Who in the world has done this the best? If you ask me, I won't say the best, but the most complicated, one of the most complicated, it will be Huawei. Let me share with you how Huawei does their employee shares thingy. Can you imagine this is how it looks like, right? So Huawei, out of their 100 over 1,000 employee, yeah, I don't know how many 100,000 of employee, they actually involve 121,269 qualified employees, okay? And then these are the shareholding employee with voting rights, So, and what happened was, they will then, from this group, they will select 115 representatives. From these 115 representatives, they filter through by one person, one vote, to a situation of setting up a board out of 17 members board, okay? And then at the same time, they have an advisory board. Wow, it's just like shadow parliament of another 10%. And what do they actually do? One is to run it, one is to supervise it, right? So this kind of like voting rights, shares, etc., etc. So if you talk about Malaysian context, we are tips of the iceberg as compared to what some of the country, like for example, Huawei has done. Okay, but does employee share option really, really work? I won't be able to answer this question at such a short time, and neither do I want to go in detail. But ladies and gentlemen, let's go back down to the very down core of running the employee to begin with. Okay, so to begin with, we need to actually create a supporting framework for our team to make them successful to begin with. Just now I show you Huawei about the check and balance. In fact, that is a very important check and balance any company needs. At the team level, they always need to actually have a support management as well as the development, whether training or otherwise, coming from the outside, for them to actually see the value in staying with you, at the same time in being your right teammate. Okay, and then of course, for those managerial level, there are also other functions that they need in order to support their work to actually make it better. And honestly, even as a board of directors, many of the time you may need advisors and mentors as well. All right. So these are the supporting framework actually businesses of today will look in. I can tell you, if one day you say, I wanted to actually have a PE fund invested into me, there will be very detailed overseas PE, they will ask very detailed questions. Some may wanted to see certain of these characters in you for them to actually see you are the person they wanted to invest in. Okay. Now, planning forward, planning your support team forward. Of course, there are so many different types of leadership. Now we talk about you, right? The different leadership style for different circumstances. We don't go into that detail as well, but ladies and gentlemen, just out of curiosity, what type of bosses are you? Are you a boss that you are actually is a fox, but you are wearing a sheep skin? Or you are a sheep, but you get no choice, but you got to actually act like a fox, right? Or scream on top of your head, okay? So whatever it is, right? If I may draw an org chart, I would like to use these 3 shapes to actually do an org chart. A lot of time we say, our team is the one who is not making my business move. But do you understand your team better or not? Why I'm actually using these 3 triangles? If you are keen, put your question in the chat room, and then I will answer during the Q&A sessions, all right? And why am I actually using this different shape? Now, ladies and gentlemen, very quickly allow me to use this to actually close the sharing about the need for you to re-look into your business characteristics on what you as a company need to realign yourself to be staying relevant to the market or the potential stakeholders. What are the important things you need to re-strategize yourself with? Meaning you need to have an element of planning. You need to ensure that you pay attention to your org chart, you pay attention to your human development, etc., etc. Very quickly on the board of directors only, I wanted to take this opportunity to highlight to you that actually under the Company Act, director today also mean CEO, CFO, and COO. Whether you are paid or you are not paid, whether you are salaried or otherwise, under the Company Act, you are carrying the same sets of responsibility and the same set of penalties and compound. Okay, so directors, your duties, you have to manage risk. Duties of directors, you manage risk, or bosses or CEO, you manage risk. One of the risks, of course, we talked about today is foreign currency risk. You see over here, foreign currency risk, your financing risk, are you making your dollar works to its rightful strength, your competition risk, your business continuity risk, right? As bosses today, we need to look into what is our job. Generating sales is your sales team job. Yeah, this is a very new mindset nowadays. Generating sales is a sales team job. Managing risk is your job. Yeah, ensuring sustainability. Last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, transformation, going digital. Can you afford not to? I only wanted to use one slider because I'm not introducing any tools about digital transformation, but just thought process. Digital transformation, a lot of time we think that we must use a technology. Sometimes a transformation, yes, it may involve technology, but it is pure improvement of processes as well. Okay, so figure out your business strategies before you actually invest into anything. Okay, we actually have clients who come to us and say, hey, you know what, the government now is giving digital fund. How can I tap on it? Okay, this is how you tap on it, but why are you tapping on it? What are you spending the money on to? That is actually a lot more important. Okay, now focus on actually what is your overall business strategy and business direction you are going to. And then you look into what do you need to transform further. Leverage insiders as well while you are using outside consultant. Because your people, item number 2 here, outside consultant, they tend to actually have one size fits all. This is a consultant's blind spot. I said about myself too. I'm guilty of it sometimes, right? But often new technology will actually fail to improve an organizational productivity, not because of the fundamental flaws in the technology, but it's simply because we don't understand the business well enough. We don't understand the running of the day. We don't understand the culture well enough. So we forgot on certain things. So your business transformation or your digital transformation, always remember you need to you need to seek information from internal people. And a lot of time, digital transformation try to design from customer experience and then back inside the company, right? So what is the direction of it? This is what we wanted to actually highlight. And fourth is you must deal with, like just now we mentioned from Dr. Sri Idris Jala's slide, we talked about the employee fear of change. Employees fear towards change. The employees fear towards being replaced. So the deterrence of any changes in transformation may deter you as a company from moving forward to become a business of tomorrow. And over here, I don't know if we talk about Silicon Valley culture to bring in. But of course, it may not be Silicon Valley. It may be a culture that you wish to benchmark against, right? Any transformations, you probably have to set aside from your actual current org chart for you actually do on the side before you do a plugin. It's important that you look into a transformation properly. Don't rush into it, but you got to do it. The last thing you wanted to do is you embark onto a digital transformation. In the name of digital transformation, you spend a lot of money, but you are still using an old-fashioned way to do your business. Then there is no improvement and you still will have the opportunity to get wiped out and you do not know what you are dying on. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. Now it's 4:30. So allow me to actually see whether there's any questions from our audience today. Yeah, I'm just going to, if you can actually do a screenshot for this particular one, or if you want our slide, let us know. We are more than happy. My side here, we are more than happy to actually pass you some of these slides. Yeah, because at the end of the day, we wanted to see everyone learning and sharing it out, and together we can actually improve each other's business forward. Okay. So, all right, June, I think we are ready to take question, isn't it? So I'm just wondering whether, is there anyone wanted to make any comment about our sharing today on what I have shared today at Syarikat Ong. We do actually provide business solutions, more like a party to also help you to actually brainstorm towards getting your plan out and then your implementation for your team to be done, right? So if you want to know more, welcome to also speak to us as well. So yes, any questions from our audience today? Anyone has any questions? Or do you have any comment that you wanted to make? Or wanted to ask anything about the Forex or any of the financial products is also possible. I must say, actually, when moratorium was actually in the picture, right? So a lot of people will start move their funds, right? Some will start investing and etc. etc. So not often some of the money market instruments was actually being given to be invested by company. A lot of times it's actually for individual. Yeah. So in fact, I realized that for UOB, the products, yeah, the products was actually many of what you have written there. What I thought, I thought these are actually for individuals. Then I actually saw it, it's actually offered to the company. So which is good, yeah. Does anyone has any questions? No? Wow, this coffee session is a very quiet coffee session then. Okay, all right. So is it okay that we do a little, like taking a photo session to actually mark our first coffee sessions? And in Syarikat Ong, we will be rolling out more coffee sessions to our clients as well as those within our circulations. Yeah, those people who may have already attended our past talks or seminars, right? If you wanted us to actually share any particular topics or look for expert in whatever topic, also feel free to actually keep in touch with us. And if we find that, hey, this is a common topic that we should actually let more people to actually share, I am more than happy to actually help to actually search for panel speakers to actually have a coffee session with us like this one. 1.5 hours, a quick one, not taking too much time, but hopefully there is a 1 or 2 take home, yeah, for everybody. Yeah. So is it okay that I seek everyone's permission to turn on your screen so that we just take a quick photo sessions and then we shall close the session for the day? So okay, then we have everyone. Oh, thank you so much. Sufan, hey, hi. Hi, Samantha. Yeah. Yeah, if everyone can just turn on your screen. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Simon. Hi, Joshua. At least. Mr. Chin, haven't seen you for a while, Mr. Chin. Okay, can other people can turn on the screen? Okay, never mind. Maybe for those that who have turned on, yeah, Jason. Okay, do we have more people who can turn on? Okay, maybe we'll just take one like this. Shall we have a thumbs up? Let's have a good year for the year 2022. Okay, screen 1 and screen 2. Yeah, so Cyrus, you are, Joyce, you are taking for us, is it? Cyrus and Joyce? Yeah, okay, all right. Thank you so much. Now, once again, anyone has any questions, or maybe since we are a small group, we probably can unmute ourselves and then, you know, we can chat over it a little bit. Maybe allow me to actually do a bit of promotion for some of my own clients. Hey, Simon, you wanted to share about a little bit about your plan so that you to excite everybody, Simon T?
Hi, Agnes. Hi, Agnes. Hi, everybody. Hi, I'm Simon from Edovis. Okay, we are in preschool franchise, and actually we, actually I'm always proud to tell people that, we are 35 years old, but today when Agnes mentioned about Syarikat Ong, I think I better keep quiet.
Sustainable business. You want to build a sustainable business.
Yes, and actually we are, start from very beginning as a family business. Actually, in 2018, we actually we convert ourselves to corporate. And actually just few months ago, we managed to do a MMA with a so-called primary school enrichment company. Okay, because right now, before that, we are targeting children from the age of 2 to 6, and we managed to do an MMA with a company that doing primary school, which is from 7 to 12. So with the successfully of the MMA, actually, we are almost like double our market share. From 2 to 6 become 2 to 12. So I think nowadays, step by step with a traditional type of business model, it won't last long. How to?
Yeah.
When you're talking about acquisition, actually, it's not talking about this share, but actually, it's a team, the tenant, the talents, all this and that.
The people management, no?
Yeah, the whole management. So with that, actually, we just do whatever we are best on. And other we depend on our team.
Yeah.
So
yeah, for Simon,
for myself, I think we're looking forward for a very good tomorrow lah. But of course, one thing also very happy is because we have Agnes with us. So she's always give a very good advice. So for that here also, I would really like to say thank you to Agnes on this part.
Thank you, Simon. Thank you. Simon, how many outlets by the time that you complete your M&A? How many outlets?
Yeah, at the time at that time we had 70 centers throughout Malaysia for Edovis Center, and the other brand, which is called Clever, they have 45. So that means overnight from 70 we jump up to 115.
Yeah.
Okay, we jump up to 115. So it's a good job. It's a good improvement.
Yeah. And now is to move forward. So ladies and gentlemen, you see, business of today is actually very different from yesterday. It's very different from yesterday. So the growth, you need to work around with everybody. You need to actually know what the market is actually looking for. Otherwise, you get wiped out, and honestly, you don't know why. So that is why planning is actually very important. No matter what size you are in, even though you are a small setup, it's actually important. So even like for us, we also work hard to actually see how do we actually sustain ourselves forward, you know. So these are all very important moving ahead lah. Jayton Ong.
NS,
Hi,
this is Samantha actually.
Oh, okay.
My mic actually got some problem. So on behalf of UOB, because most of the, if it's from UOB, actually is the Pudu customer. Thank you all for joining. So congratulations to Simon for your successful expansion with Agnes. Thank you, Agnes, for this session. I find it very interactive and very good. So after this, hopefully, you know, Simon, we can actually work more closely. You can actually work with us, UOB. We have a lot of things.
Sure.
Can actually
My pleasure.
So from here, we will actually, from here, we will keep in touch with you. So hopefully UOB and Agnes can actually help everyone to bring your business to the next level.
Yeah. To us, it's like we really wanted to be able to grow with our client as well as anyone that who big businesses who need help, because honestly, it's no longer a situation of I just maintain where it is, you know. Businesses of day is actually is either you grow or that's it. Yeah, so it's very easily we replace. We are in a situation of as an interviewer, you interview people, you choose them, they choose you. At the end, you don't know who choose who, you know. So as a business owner, we got to look sexy all the time. So how to look sexy all the time? There are so many characteristics we have to actually look into. Yeah, we look into, you know, you had to pitch, you know, actually in interview today, you need to pitch so that you get the right talent to join you. And today we need talent in order to grow our business lah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So everyone, thank you so much for your attention. We really hope now anytime, give me a call, coffee, physical coffee. I would love to come.
Yeah. It's time for us to catch up as well.
Yes, yeah. So for anyone who didn't turn on your screen, we keep in touch, yeah, and then look out for the next coffee on Zoom sessions that we are going to hold together. If you need any help, any support, if Syarikat Ong, we don't actually have a solution for you, I'll find it for you. Okay, yeah, I'll pass you to the right person to actually help you out. Okay, so everyone, thank you so much for your time. So we will call it a day and then keep in touch with us. Allow me to just share our contact one more time in case you need to keep in touch with us. Okay, so this is a number that you call. Okay, thank you. You may sign off now. Thank you very much. So I will actually pass the floor to our MC, Wani.
Thank you to our distinguished panelists, speakers for the fruitful knowledge sharing. If you need further information regarding the session today, feel free to contact our team and we are more than happy to assist you. With that, we have come to an end and thank you for joining and see you next time.
Bye everyone. Keep in touch.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Simon.
Thank you.
Thank you.